Hello, my name is Tim Harkness. I'm a cycling coach and I run a program called QuickThinking Coaching. And I've got 3 training principles that I would like to tell you about. The first principle is that of fatigue and freshness. The second one is feel and monitor. And the third one is that you've got to do the maximum sustainable work. I'll take you through them one by one. First of all, when it comes to fatigue and freshness, when we train, we're trying to fatigue our bodies, we're trying to shock our bodies, because you're trying to tell your body a message. And the message is, I want more from you, I need more from you. So the harder you train, the harder you push, the more tired you make yourself, the stronger the message you're sending to your body, and the more strongly your body's going to respond by growing muscle fibers, mitochondria, building red blood cells, increasing your blood plasma. So it's really important to fatigue yourself to achieve a training effect. But you've also got to recover. You've got to get fresh, because the recovery is when the building happens. So that the fatiguing is when the message gets sent, and the recovery, the freshness, is when the actual progress happens. So that's the first principle that I train by, is fatigue and freshness. And people say that the difference between the pros and amateur cyclists is that the pros train harder and rest easier than the average cyclist. And what you really don't want to be doing is getting stuck in this grey world of being too tired to train hard, but not giving yourself a chance to recover. That's training principle number 1 of quick thinking coaching. Training principle number 2 is feel. Now, I love sports science. I monitor every single second I spend on the bike. I've got a power meter, I use Training Peaks for myself, and I use it for all my athletes. But you have to feel how hard you're pushing on the bike. You have to be tuned into your body. And there are 2 reasons for this. The one is that when you're tuned into your body, when you're listening to your body, the whole experience of cycling becomes more worthwhile, because it becomes a form of connection to yourself. And that's just a more worthwhile activity. It helps you get in a state of flow that actually adds meaning to your life. But the second reason why you need to feel what's going on is because we need to train different energy systems when we're on the bike. We need to train endurance, we need to train VO2 max, we need to train our aerobic capacity. And the thing is, as we fatigue, these energy systems are reached at different power outputs. So if you're just training using power, you might think you're training your aerobic capacity, but actually you're pushing into anaerobic capacity. There's an irony that people talk about pushing through the burn, but when you're training endurance or aerobic capacity, you shouldn't actually be burning. So you really need to learn to listen to your body to make sure that you're doing the right kind of training. And also, you need to listen to your body to make sure that you are training right up to the limits of what you're able to do. Because, for example, if you're doing an aerobic capacity training session, there's a whole wide envelope of how hard you could push. Now obviously you don't want to push too hard, but if you're really listening to yourself effectively, you can push absolutely as hard as possible, but not harder. And that means that you're getting the maximum benefit from the amount of time that you've got to spend on that session. That's the second quick thinking principle, is feel. But in addition to that, when it comes to accuracy, I think there's no more accurate measure of how hard we're working than our own bodies and the physical sensations we get from our own bodies. And that's why I'm comfortable that cyclists feel how hard to push during a training session. But when it comes to recording what we've done, our memories aren't actually great at recording numbers or hours. And that's why monitoring is so important, because we do need to monitor how long we've spent in certain zones. We need to monitor whether we're progressing or not. And that's why power meters and Training Peaks such an important part of succeeding with a training program. And the third principle is that when it comes to cycling, it's a very fair sport. The more you do, the better you get. The harder you push the pedals, the faster you go. So the third principle of quick thinking coaching is to do the maximum sustainable. Do as much work as you can. And the thing is, like I explained in another video, we fatigue physically, but we fatigue mentally as well. And the more efficiently we can design programs, the less energy we have to waste on mental dramas and mental toughness. And the more energy we can just spend pushing pedals, because that's what makes us faster. So when it comes to doing the maximum sustainable, the more fun we can have, the more social support we can have, and the better we can design our training drills, the more work we can get out of the same amount of energy. So those are the three training principles of quick thinking coaching. Fatigue yourself, return to freshness. Secondly, feel how hard to push, but use sports science to monitor how hard you have been pushing. And thirdly, design your systems, design your training programs right, so that you can do the absolute maximum amount of work for the overall pool of energy that you have.